Meanwhile, in China, where the pandemic broke out, not a single new death was reported. The city of Wuhan in Hubei province, where the new virus was first identified, prepared for lockdown measures to be lifted. Wow, those Chinese are doing a great job at lying. You know, why? What on earth is NBC reporting news from China as if it were the truth? It is just unbelievable to me. Yesterday, in the briefing, Trump went after this reporter. This reporter started talking to him about the fact that the Chinese companies like Huawei have donated medical supplies and equipment to the U.S. to handle the coronavirus pandemic. Now, there have been reports that some of the Chinese equipment that's being sent out doesn't work, but she's making this speech, and he stopped her and he said, this is a statement more than a question. And here's a little bit of the exchange. Trump started talking about the fact that we've had this trade deficit with China that he's been trying to fix.
Now China's going to spend a lot, has agreed to spend 250 billion, many billions of dollars in our country, much of it going to farmers and manufacturers. So I'll let you know. I mean, I hope they're going to honor the deal. We'll find out.
China, are you cooperating with China?
I don't know. Who are you working for, China? You work for China, or are you with a newspaper? Who are you with?
Hong Kong Phoenix TV.
Who owns that, China? Is it owned by China?
Hong Kong.
No, is it owned by the state?
No, it's not. It's a private-owned company.
Okay, good. Okay. Look, I'll let you know. I'll give you a good answer to that in a few months. I wanted to see what they do. Because it's time for them to help us, okay? It's time right now for China to help us. And hopefully they do.
So, of course, liberals on Twitter were going nuts. They were calling him a pig. They were saying he's a misogynist and all this stuff. She was lying. She was lying. Phoenix TV is an arm. It has an independent shell company that owns it, but it is subject to the dictates of communist propaganda. It's a communist propaganda instrument. It's an instrument of Chinese communist propaganda. Why the press, who questions every word out of the president's mouth, if he says, oh, things are getting better, they go, oh, but it's so bad. It's so bad. All right. Why on earth are they not questioning China? I mean, Nadia Shadlow wrote this piece, and good for the Atlantic, which sometimes they used to really be a lot more fair. They've now gone woke and leftist a little bit, but they're still publishing some stuff. Nadia Shadlow was briefly in the Trump administration, and she wrote this piece called "Consider the Possibility that Trump is Right About China." This is why they are taking Chinese propaganda, the word of a country that wants to destroy us, that oppresses its own people, that has never owned up to the oppression and murder they have done in their country to their own people. Why should our press, talk about them? I mean, you got Thomas Friedman in the New York Times saying, oh, if only we could be China for a day, we could fix everything, because the experts have done such a great job. So Nadia Shadlow writes in The Atlantic, even as the current emergency has proved Trump right in fundamental ways about China specifically and foreign policy more generally, many respectable people in the United States are letting their disdain for the president blind them to what is really going on in the world. Trump's point of view, the COVID-19 crisis, reveals what his strategy asserted, that the world is a competitive arena in which great power rivals like China seek advantage, that the state remains the irreplaceable agent of international power and effective action. And, this is the important thing, that this virus, the situation, I'm willing to grant he made mistakes. I'm willing to grant he didn't take it seriously fast enough, whatever. Still, it has proved everything he said right. It has proved his general attitude, which was the opposite of the attitude of the elites, the opposite of the attitude of the experts in the State Department. It has proved his general point right, that we are a world of countries, a world of countries. Not all the countries are morally equal. Not all the cultures are morally the same, and they are in competition with one another. And it's not a pure capitalist competition. It is also a moral competition. This was what Reagan said about the Soviet Union. He said it's not like we and they are morally equivalent. It is not the same thing. We are not morally equivalent to the Chinese. And I shouldn't have to say that we're not perfect. Obviously, we're not perfect. But we are a country dedicated to good values, and they are a country dedicated to bad values. We have to win.